Obviously, the industry over the last 25 years has started to get emission standards, and those emission standards has come in effect with bigger machines, and then going down to smaller machines. So if a big machine today has a lot of emission controls, you can say the same, almost the same as on road. But the smaller the machine gets, the less emission control on. And when you come to the smallest machines, under the stage 5 regulations here in Europe, they more or less don't have to have anything. They don't have to have AdBlue or DPF, like filters afterwards, or common rail or anything. It's like an old mechanical diesel engine that we're allowed to have. And the problem is that the big machines are out in the middle of nowhere where there's no people, are fairly clean. The smaller machines are in the cities, and there are many of them. There are approximately 5,000 of those smaller machines within the ultra-low emission zone, and those machines pollute as much as 100,000 cars. And 100,000 cars is like, there's 1 million cars in circulation in London every day. So it's like 10% of that. It's the same as 10% of the cars. So there is a big impact on air quality. And those are the pollutants like NOx and particulate matter. Those are the things that you can take away from, or you can reduce them at least with emission controls, but those machines are outside those regulations. And I would say that the other interesting thing with this is that when I look at what London has done, I mean, it's world leading in this. It's a very old city. They have really gone on to this, to being green and clean up the air. And it is the biggest low emission zone in the world. So they've done a fantastic job. We are lagging a little bit behind. It will come. It's natural that it will come. But what I cannot fully understand is the regulations, the European regulations, that if you have different power bands, if they're small or big, then you have different regulations to follow. And then you brand it under stage 5. And what has happened in London is that they have said there has been a lot of push that you need to have the latest regulations because that's what the cars are having. So the industry have done the right thing. They have gone to bought new machines. So the population in London is very, very new with stage 5. But it doesn't give any impact because of that the regulation is formed the way it is.
What is, can you just talk about the regulation of stage 5? What is that?
It's a European regulation of so they call Euro 6 on trucks, and then they have a different regulation set for off-road equipment. And so they started with the stage 1 was 1999, and then they have gone and updated that. And if you look at the car industry and the scandals that has been around diesel cars with this, is that has been under a loop and decades to refine that. So cars and vans has very advanced technologies to clean up the cars. And they cannot do anything about carbon. Carbon is, if you burn 1 liter of fuel, you're going to emit 2.68 kilos of carbon. But you can do a lot about the harmful gases that NOx and particulate matter. And those regulations has been put in place since 1999 to reduce the amount of harmful pollution. And since stage 1 to stage 5, a big machine has reduced 94% of those harmful gases. But the smaller machines have reduced nothing. And that is like, it's like you're buying something with this stage 5 certification, but you're not getting the value delivered from it from a pollution point of view.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good point that you've made there, because it's the improvement that has been made in the standards of these vehicles has not stripped away or reduced the carbon. What it's done is it's changed the other harmful compounds and VOCs as that fuel burns, and that is what gives really, really bad air in terms of air pollution as well. Yes, carbon will burn, and that's there. We've not stopped that by changing those standards, but carbon isn't the only thing that gives bad air.
CO2 will kill us all in the future if that goes on, but it will not. It has no impact on public health when it comes to. I mean, that's what we breathe. So
because CO2 is around us all the time. Yeah, it's part of the air mix-up, and so that's not going to have an adverse effect on you.
No. So if you look at the ultra low emission zones, is to put in place so that the cars follows the latest regulations of emission controls, and those emission controls takes away the harmful gases. It doesn't take away the CO2. So, but then, I mean, any car manufacturer or any equipment manufacturer, truck manufacturer wants to take down their fuel consumption. So we make more fuel saving engines, and that takes away the CO2. So the less the engine consumes, the less the CO2 is come out. And that the whole industry has worked on, because there is a financial benefit that we can do more work with our machines for less fuel, then we produce less carbon. And we have all kinds of technologies, both in the engine and hybrid systems and hydraulic system, to try to get the machines to be as efficient as possible. But then on the engine itself, there are ways that with AdBlue that you can take away NOx. There are particular filter that you put afterwards that you can take away some of the soot, which is harmful. And then the regulations, what has happened with the regulations is that I think when they started to look at this 1999, I mean, the big machines, there was only big machines. There was not that many sold of the smaller machines. And there was just more manual work in the cities. They were not using compact exit. They were using compact exit, but that was a smaller part of it. And then they kind of came to the conclusion, which is the wrong conclusion, that we don't need to control those that much because they have very little hours on them and there is not that many of them. If we then fast forward to 2025, then out of the 125,000 excavators sold in Europe, approximately 100,000 of them was the smaller ones. Mm-hmm. And they are working in the cities, and then the combine of all those excavators becomes that they are the most polluting machines out there.
Thanks for watching to the end. I think that you'll like this, but before you do that, just make sure that you've commented and liked below, and also that you subscribed.